Scientists were the ones who mostly discussed it. And they never said things like, we have to stop climate change, because they knew that climate always changed. In fact, the only constant about climate is change. If you look through the history of the Earth, ever since we had an atmosphere, the climate has changed. Sometimes very quickly, sometimes slowly. It's gotten hotter, it's gotten colder. This kind of thing is normal. So the whole concept of stopping climate change is a bit ridiculous. Climate change is something we hear in the media constantly. We hear it in Congress all the time. And we hear one statement over and over. Scientists have agreed. There's an enormous problem, a catastrophe, something that we are causing, and we must stop it now. Well, I think after tonight's presentation, you might wonder if some of that makes any sense at all. You see, climate change is in an era of negative discovery. Negative discovery means the more you learn, the more you realize you don't understand. And in fact, science is like that in many, many fields. I mean, in the field of plate tectonics, for example, at the very beginning, they didn't really understand how it worked. And the whole idea that there were plates on the Earth, this was nuts, okay? The skeptic who suggested this was disgraced in the field. But now it's accepted as one of the common things. In fact, you could say that the science of plate tectonics is settled. But the science of climate change is just in its infancy. I mean, think about it. Since 1997, when the Kyoto Protocol was created, there's been more money spent in fundamental climate change research than in all history combined before. I mean, if they weren't discovering something new, you'd say, holy smokes, what is all this money going for? The first thing I'm going to talk about is clouds, okay? Clouds are a much more important driver of climate change than anything humans are doing. I mean, it's an order of magnitude or more important. And only recently, perhaps 10 years ago, we thought that clouds were a net positive feedback to the Earth's climate system. In other words, we believed that more clouds led to higher temperatures because clouds were contributing to the greenhouse effect. But recently they've found that that's not true at all. In fact, clouds reflect so much sunlight back into space that they are a net negative contributor to climate change. In other words, the Earth gets cooler when there are more clouds. And you can actually see that on this graph here. Here are early models which showed how much the Earth would, in this case, warm because of clouds. But as they got to more and more sophisticated models, this is where they are now. Okay? They show that clouds cause a net cooling of the planet. Now remember, clouds have many, many times the impact on climate than humans do. The science is settled? I mean, come on. This is an obvious example of where the science is totally unsettled. The more we learn, the more we realize we don't understand. We have to learn to take much of what people tell us for sure about the Earth and the future of the planet with a really big grain of salt.